Cimoooooooo! So, remember when I said that Supply Unit was going to make Fire Kings Tier 1? Yeah, don't listen to me on that note. What's going on, guys? It's Cimo, and today I'm going to bring to you what you've all been waiting for. It is the Supply Unit Fire King deck profile. Now, I want to give a little warning before I go into this. As good as Supply Unit is in Fire Kings, I'm going to discuss why it's also not good and the problems that it still has just in the card itself. So I'm going to get right into it. I would change a lot of things about this deck after running it at locals, and I'm going to go into that as I go through the profile. So to start out, 2 copies of Garunix. I'm really liking only 2 copies of Garunix over 3, mainly because I only ran 2, and I would still brick with 2 of these in my opening hand. And I just don't know why Garunix just loves ending up in your hand. It's just like a rule of Yu-Gi-Oh! But if you play Fire Kings, you're gonna get Garunix in your hand. At least at some point, it's gonna happen. So 3 is definitely too many. I think 2 is fine. I've never gotten them both like deprisoned or banished in the same game. So I think 2 is totally fine. To complement that, we have 2 copies of Fire King Avatar Yaksha. Again, I don't see the point for 3 if you're only running 2 Garunix. Like, I know you can pop Barong and stuff, but I think 2 is enough. I actually would maybe consider bumping it to 3 to up the monster count, because one of the biggest problems was with this deck is that I ran a fairly low monster count, but I didn't think it was really going to affect it too much, but it ended up, I was bricking hands where I wouldn't have any monsters for several turns, and it was pretty bad. So next we have 3 Fire King Avatar Barong. He is just the best card in the deck. The Searcher just gets out all of your power cards, your Onslaught, your Circle, just everything you need. 3 is definitely the way to go. As for the non-Fire King cards, we have 1 Fire Fist Bear. I would maybe consider going back to 2, because there were some instances where a second bear would have come in handy, but I don't know. I'm still happy with the 1 bear. And then the 1 wolf bark. You know, everything you're running is, that I've just mentioned earlier, besides Garunix, is a Beast Warrior. So you can just go ahead and just wolf bark it back out. You can just go into rank 4 XC play so easily, and yeah. And then everyone's favorite, the Degenerative Hands. We've got 2 fire and 2 ice. My theory behind this was, since I'm running Supply Unit, The whole point is that this gives you, the hands give you a sort of field presence that it's really, that's the thing with Fire Kings, is it's kind of hard to maintain field presence if Garunix gets knocked out. Like, if he gets banished or returned to the hand or anything, your field presence is gone. And so I feel that the hands, in a way, they kind of give you an option to not only pop your opponent's cards, but they give you some sort of field presence when you don't have your Garunix plays set up yet. And I thought the hands did fairly well, so I was pretty pleased running them. You could also run Fencing Fire Ferret is another way. It's pretty much Fire Hand, except you can trigger it through your own means. And I was testing that, and as good as Fencing Fire Ferret is, I love the card. I just thought the hands were better floaters overall, and I thought that was just overall a better choice. So that's it for the monsters. The monster lineup is fairly short, and I would actually want to up that just a little bit. For spells, we have Triple Onslaught of the Fire Kings, the most broken card in the game. Just so good to get out your Garunix turn 1, or just any, you can even just go for a regular Fire King and go for a rank 4 XC play. I mean, it's just, the card is just so good, it's ridiculous. Then we have 2 Circle the Fire King. I really like 2 Circle, especially since I'm not running an all fire deck. I think 2 is a good number. You don't really want to see this card. Like, you would want to search it off Barong, if anything. Like, having 1 opening is fine, but I think 3 is just way too many. And then, what everyone has been waiting for. The Triple Supply Squad. I think I've been saying Supply Unit this whole video, but Supply Squad. Okay. First of all, there's only supposed to be 2 of these in here, because I forgot my second Forbidden Lance for the tournament, so I ended up running 3 Supply Squad. Which was really funny. But anyway, here's the biggest problem with this card. The biggest problem with it is it's inherently a neg 1. And if you can't pop anything Like, there's really no point. This card does nothing. Now, Fire Kings, the whole point of the deck is to pop your own stuff. But the thing is, if you're relying on your opponents to do it for you, they're just not going to do it, or they're going to wait till they have a way to stop Supply Squad. Now, on the other end of that, when this card was out and it was doing work, the hand advantage that this card gives you is absolutely fucking ridiculous. I had turns where my hand was like 9 cards big because I would just be drawing, popping my own things, drawing again on my opponent's turn. Garunix would come back, I'd draw again. Like, it is just absolutely absurd the amount of advantages can give you. For my recommendation, I would only run 2 of these at most, and I don't even know if that's a good idea because there are so many instances where Supply Squad you'll draw it and it's just a dead card because you can't do anything with it. It's like, oh, Supply Squad, cool. Well, I don't have any other plays, so there's nothing I can do. But Supply Squad is definitely... It makes the Fire Kings have a lot more speed, but it's only if you can pop your own things, like, in the same turn you activate it. Otherwise, it's not really going to do anything. Continuing on, we have 3 Fire Formation Tenki. I mean, this is staple in Fire Kings. You know, everything's Beast Warrior, so you can just go ahead and search out whatever you need for the situation. And for the 1-ofs, we have 1 Book of Moon, the best quick play spell that there is. I mean, it's just so strong, offensively and defensively. Dark Hole, you're running Fire Kings, you main deck Dark Hole. That's just, that's how it works. 1 Forbidden Lance. Like I said, this should have been 2, but I forgot my second one. Forbidden Lance is really good because you can dodge cards like Dimensional Prison and Bottomless with Garunix, and having that double lance is really important for those types of plays. And finally, 1 Soul Charge. I do not run Rekindling, and the reason for that is, especially since I was only running 2 Yakshas, you only have 5 Rekindling targets. And I found out in testing that you would, most of the time, draw Rekindling, and your graveyard would either be full of, like, hands, or, like, Garunixes, or just, like, a bear or a wolf bark, or basically something you can't Rekindling. And so I'm just thinking, okay, I'm just going to take out the Rekindling for Soul Charge, because in that way I have a means to get these monsters back. And I'm totally okay with that decision. It does really well. So that's it for the spells. For the traps, 2-Dimensional Prison. Hands, even though hands don't really affect... I mean, Fire Hand doesn't really do a whole lot against this deck, but it's just a really good way to get rid of cards off the field, especially things that can't be destroyed. It's just such a good out, and a lot of people don't expect you to be running it, so it's a really good card. Double Fiendish Chain. Now, people are probably going to be questioning why I'm running Fiendish Chain over, like, Breakthrough Skill. I main deck, you'll see, I main deck a copy of Full House, since I run so many continuous spells and traps. I have the 3 Tenkis, I have 3 supply units, I have the Fiendish Chains, I have a Call of the Haunted, I think that might be it. But that is so many targets for a main deck Full House that it is such a good way to blow out your opponent. And also, Fiendish Chain can be used defensively too. If your opponent attacks, you can stop the attack, where Breakthrough Skill doesn't have that advantage. Like I said, the hands don't really do a whole lot against the deck, so I mean, even though they might be able to go off with the hands and pop your Fiendish Chains, it really doesn't matter that much in my opinion. I'd rather do that over the Breakthroughs just for the main deck Full House. Then we have double Wiretap. Wiretap is actually really important in this deck because of all of the traps that can hurt Garunix, like I mentioned, Dimensional Prison, Bottomless Trap Hole, any Solemn Warning. You can stop Solemn Warning, which is one of the cards that you normally can't stop. Wiretap is actually really... It's really key to stopping those cards that you really do not want to go off. And I several times used Wiretap against a Solemn Warning against my Garunix, and it saved my game. For the 1-ofs, we have a Bottomless, staple. 1 Call of the Haunted. This is really good just to get your Garunix back and live again. Compulsory Evacuation Device, just really good card. 1 main deck Full House. Like I said, this card, especially against like really back row heavy decks, it just wrecks them. Especially if you have like some dead Tenkis on the field, or even if you want to just get rid of your supply squads, just Full House. Why not? 1 Warning, obvious, and Torrential. You're playing Fire Kings. You always play Torrential. So that's it for the main deck. Quickly for this extra deck, it's pretty standard. I mean, it's just Abyss Dweller, obvious. Tiger King, You're running Beast Warrior, so you're going to run Tiger King. You know, free skill drains, and free Tanky Search. Funny, I did not make him the whole tournament, though. Kagasuchi, same thing. You're running Beast Warriors, and he's just a really good way to just put pressure on your opponent that's unnecessary. Diamond Dire. Diamond Dire is actually really good with Supply Unit, because you can make him, you can pop something on your opponent's field, and you get to draw a card because you destroy Diamond Dire with his own effect. Or if you destroy one of your own Beast Warriors, you get to draw from Supply Squad. So that's actually really cool. Exciton and Staple. You're actually really negged with this deck a lot. I mean, Fire Kings, that's just generally how it works, unless you have Supply Squad out. So Exciton's just really good. Cowboy wins games. I used him like 3 times today. Lavable Chain. Lavable Chain is actually more important in this deck than you might think. The fire attribute's really good because what you can do is, you can, say for example, you get your Lavable Chain, you can send Garunix to the graveyard, and then you can circle the Fire King's Lavable Chain for Garunix just to get him instantly out. It's a really cool combo. It's kind of situational, but if you can get it off, hey, it works. One Mace Stroke. I had room, and it's just another way, so I don't have to waste 101 on destruction effects. Black Ship of Corn, staple. Rhapsody. I honestly think Rhapsody's staple at this point. Harlan Drago steals games. Crazy Box, I side deck Skill Drain, so I figure Crazy Box is pretty good. It doesn't hurt my deck at all. 101, I made it like 5,000 times. Ragnar Zero, I actually didn't make him, but I think Ragnar Zero is just amazing. And Roach for Lightsworn, you know. It's just all good. So, anyway, that is the deck. As for what I would change, it's really hard to say. I mean, I thought the monster count was extremely low, so I wasn't too happy with that. So I'd probably up the monster count at least a few. I would definitely, well, I would not run 3 Supply Squad, I'll tell you that. 2 at the most. And maybe even 1 is all you need, because that card just bricks so hard, and it's like, okay, you know, you just can't do anything. I might consider going back to fencing Fire Ferret, and I just feel like the build needs a lot of work, because I think Supply Squad can be utilized a lot more effectively in a different way with cards like Generation Shift and stuff like that. And so if I run fencing Fire Ferrets and multiple copies of fencing Fire Ferret, then Generation Shift becomes a lot more live of a card, because then you can pop it. Then you have targets also, Generation Shift can also use on Barong and Yaksha. You pop it, you add a card to your hand, you draw one from Supply Squad. So that actually might be the way to go. I also side decked Needle Sealing, which I felt was a really good choice too, especially against just swarm decks like Infernity and stuff like that. So Needle Sealing is also a really good choice. I don't know if I would main one, especially since these decks aren't really super popular, but definitely in the side deck you want to have at least a couple. So yeah, that is Supply Squad Fire Kings. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think, and yeah, thank you guys so much for watching the video, and we'll see you next time.